nothing has been moving on their portals. What must happen? Okay. Then you're saying a list is going to go out without them even having status changes on their portals. Then the president of Univen is right to say that no, the list that's going to come out now is for students who are only provisionally funded. Because the ones that are having issues, we haven't resolved on those issues. You're going to send a list of provisionally funded students only.
And on that,
yes, in addition, since you have pointed me,
can I clarify that so that I don't forget my thought?
Yeah,
you are correct when I say that's the list. Remember, the list is comprised of all the students, so each group must be attended. Then they find themselves in this list. But timelines and all these things, the reality is that out of the 4, 5, 6 other groups that are there, as you resolve them one by one, they find themselves in this list.
drink water.
You see, they find themselves in this list. So then you are correct when you say we only want to keep that list here. But maybe what you want to say is what about all these other ones? When are they going to be done? All of them, like 0, on
what we want.
Yes.
No, there's one thing you're failing to understand. We want to assist you here with these things. From these varieties of lists.
Yes.
Or one of the list of 50%.
Yes.
The same way you pull them out, it must be the same way you take them back in.
Yes.
Then you'll have the other list to work on. I'm saying that you're having too much workload.
Yes.
So we want to assist you with the workload. The 50%, you took them out because you have identified them as 50% affected students.
Yes.
Now we are saying take them back in as 50%. The list which will be left with is going to be those ones who are stuck there and what. Your workload doesn't even have to take the whole weekend.
What did I say?
You said we are all the list. We don't care. No, we don't. No.
You're saying no. I said to you, and you justified it, or you even said no. That thing has been. You said that thing has been.
Yes, my students haven't received anything.
No, that's what you say.
Wait, listen. No, it's not what I said. It's not what I said. It's the reality.
No, I'm not.
Even Free State is affected.
I'm not disputing.
When you say that what I said means that my moment just came on.
It's going to isolate to one university. It's nationwide.
My brother, I think
thank you. Firstly, what I want to say is that NSFAS is very much bogus. And I believe you know that, and you must first acknowledge and admit that, because till today, this time around, I don't believe your kid where they are, if you have kids and they're suffering, or you can permit them to go to that extent. So today we're sitting here today, there's no proper plan. What you release in your documentations, when you just release in your website,
media,
it's contrary to what's happening. When you go and have regional meetings, we're just having meetings. The very same way we're having a meeting here now with you.
Yes.
We're going to go out with no solution, because we can tell you now, the list is going to come as list comes, but then the majority of our students who are affected, they're still not going to be there. So the reason we come here, we came with those lists and we know those students. So now the solution, as we give you those students,
you work on them.
We work on them because we know them. We know the students. So you work on those students and then we'll go back with solutions. Because other than that, what's the use of us coming here?
And I believe to add on what you just said, I believe that hence you are assuming that in other institutions the 50% is being resolved. NUL is not resolved, and I have the list.
But
so
I accepted that.
Can you give me
you said you resolved.
No, you're running down from the
go upstairs. I think let's have the conversation while it's with
President.
He's not hearing you.
No, I hear you very well.
But the issue is that I don't know about other universities. We must be honest in this discussion so that we can get the real problem.
Yeah.
With our university, we got a list this week of the 50%. So now, there are students who pass 50%, who they are in the list which was sent in our university.
And some are not.
And there are students who pass 50% who are not there. It's not necessarily, it means that whatever you've done, you did it bad. You didn't manage to get all the students who pass 50%. So that's the concern. So now we can go and identify, because we know the student we're talking about. We can identify those students. Now, we can do it. And give you the list now of the students who are affected. Not everyone is affected. Because now, my fear is that they are going to use the same approach you used to the 50% thing and think like you've done what you're supposed to do. Whereas students who are affected are not assisted. So I can suggest that we get the list ourselves at the statistics here. Of the students who pass 50%, but they are not in the list was sent this week. Then by that we'll be able to identify what the problem.
We must have the meeting upstairs actually by ICT department.
No, you can't.
You invited us to go there in the first place. But in the first place, you said take 3 hours back to go there and see it. But now you're declining the offer.
You are missing the point.
No, we're not. You said you're going to take us upstairs.
Let me finish so that because I was trying to answer him with the same thing. From our side, fortunately, you are confirming, but you are confirming what is also have indicated. Certain students are not there, or it's not visible to a certain group of students. I was trying
Now
to say,
the president
Rona,
has to go to the
we have
ICT.
done this, but this is not holistically resolved because there are still students that are saying, like you're rightfully putting it. Okay. So we are acknowledging that and say, let's have them. Let's have all the students. When I first started, maybe one of you heard what I said.
Yeah, you gave us a synopsis.
Very long one.
What do you call it? Lip therapy.
Lip service.
No, but the problem about that, you are being subjective without.
No, we're not. We're speaking honest truth.
You're telling this what?
Okay, no,
None from your staff members who have solutions to this thing.
Hey, we can send you the list
We're
now.
going to do this thing the whole day, we won't get a solution.
Now,
Now, what we do, let's go to our groups, we know those people. Let's get those students who they are
Now I have my
not.
database now on Excel.
Then we send to him, we work on it now.
Not send and give. These things of sending, we send
I'm
them a
giving-
list.
yeah.
The drink.
No,
I
but
have
the
a
organization-
list.
No,
Send- No, Robert, Chaka. No, say, oh, we're going to work only on 50%.
No, I can
We're having other groups. This is one category. So I'm going to send the list. I'm going to send the list for an hour.
Leadership.
You work on this one. We must send all because we're not here to resolve one issue alone.
Leadership. There's a sequencing. How do you cannot say it's a 50%?
You work on them.
It's a 50%. Give group, give 50%.
You are many there.
No, you see, you're assuming.
You are many.
You're assuming.
I ask who are
You are
unemployed.
many. Then if you're not many, you are admitting that your NSS has no capacity.
There's no workforce.
You're assuming. So we'll take that.
What's the reality? It's either you are many or you are
If you don't have staff,
undercapacitated.
then it means you're incapacitated.
Yeah, we have capacity. It's a known thing.
No, if you don't have many staff, then it means you're incapacitated to deal with the other issues of the entire country.
Okay. Yes, we are.
You're incapacitated,
That's
yes.
why we've spoken to
You're
the minister
incapacitated.
and everyone to give us more people to come and work with us.
So you agree that you're
but no,
incapacitated?
let's finish this. So let's get the
That's what
list. So
students
that is
will
one
want.
list. Otherwise, we're going to end up with various things and I miss it. So that list of 50%
50%.
students that are that they have passed. It's a granted fact. They passed accordingly, but this is for whatever reason in the database of the system they are not in that thing. So let's get that so that ibe homework attend the because when I was saying particular off, it's because of the action that you saw, but the action that we did still have issues inside it of the 50 because we did exactly what he's saying, which is move them back. But because it's not one processor and multiple processes, some might have been pulled out by those processes. But without being technical, let's resolve it like we've agreed now. Let's have a list of issue affecting 50% handled as a task one.
Okay, no.
Then we move to the next group so that we can merge. Otherwise, we're going to be all over.
Oh, okay. So now also for the interest of time, since SRC members here are saying we're having those lists, I think it's just a matter of us giving the list while we continue to the second point.
Yes.
That we don't remain because the list from them we have it.
And I have a proposal to make.
Yes.
You know, SG, this is the part. You see, there are three institutions here.
Yes.
UL, Univen, and Free State.
Yes.
And you are having your team there, working with the whole bunch of institutions, which I believe that they are not in this sitting, means maybe they might not be having problems like we're having problems, which we took even the stand to come here, to even hijack your lunchtime.
Uninvited.
I will say that he brings his database, I bring my database, not only for the 50% affected students, because from where I'm sitting, I have the RDC students who are not getting anything. I have the students who are coming from other institutions, the dual registration, and then I have the migrated students.
Yes.
For us to go and work on 50% only today,
No, we're not working
I'm just
only
giving I'm still in the podium. For us to go and work on 50% only, will be done 50%. I will go home and celebrate 50% is done. What about the rest? That's why we're saying that
appeals submitted. They haven't even moved.
Let's do
So now
that.
we move to the next group.
Let-
Let's
Say,
go to the
proposal- I did
one
not
thing,
the-
one thing we must tell you, you want managers here.
Yeah.
If you think that us are telling us that we're going to deal with one group, then you think we're going to take 5 hours dealing with one group, you're not going to manage us.
Deal with
If we must
the
do that
universities.
5 hours, we're going to deal with 50% only. It means for the next 5 hours, we're going to deal with transferring. For the next 5 hours, we're going to deal with appeals submitted. Because some students have submitted appeals. They haven't even moved a stage at all. It's still stuck on appeals submitted.
Yes.
What is the student eating up until now? CIO. If you as a child, what is the student going to be eating up until now? That 50% student who still are waiting that funding, what are they going to be eating until now?
And,
What are
I
they
think for the
eating?
best
and the
of the
wrongfully
time,
affected by
I agree
350.
with Viper.
Yeah.
When we send the list, which we have, we're not going to focus necessarily on 50% only.
We move.
But all the issues, and we are going to make sure that it gets resolved now when we are still here. then
but-
the rest will be, because now if you are right, we're going to divert and focus on
That's why
50% only.
that's why-
So now all these issues we have them students. What we did,
Yeah.
we released a Google form and say students indicate the problem you're having with NSFAS.
Yes.
The rest of them, then they'll write 50% but not funded, appeal not moved, stuck in what assistant financial eligibility. So I think that list, the entire of it, we can work on it now if you are agreeing with us, so that because this discussion it won't bear fruit if we will not go to study list now to you and then get to be held, because we're going to just be exchanging words until tomorrow and then we'll go back with nothing.
Okay.
My proposal was this: 3 institutions, they all submit that database before we leave here. If ever not going to finish with the institution, you can propose to buy us blankets, because we're not leaving this building.
Once.
Okay.
This weekend, we are going to have a holy ceremony here.
And as we submit the list, can you also assess the list? Because we don't want a situation where you say you didn't understand anything here. You must assess and then you deal. And in fact, the list which you are referring to for today, it must consist of these students being funded.
Okay.
Honest.
Yes.
Let me then remind you, all of us, that why do we end up with funded and not funded?
Not qualifying and qualifying.
Can I answer that question for you?
So all these categories that are affected because of rules, because of data, because of multiple other things. But all those things are all doing one thing.
Yeah,
To ensure
to
that
fund it.
NSFAS, by the time it gets to a portion that Tsepo Motsoaledi you are funded, or Paul Maholo you are funded, you've ticked all the relevant boxes. If you don't tick the boxes, you tick, let's say 6 and you skip 2, but you are in the funded. NSFAS ends up in a position that we always hear in the news, they say fruitless and wasteful expenditure, because you funded students that were not funded. So that is why you see the delay of people checking each and every line item that goes to rules and logic that is there. It's not like I can just decide and say, So I was just referencing that because of the earlier statement of Balerba Movil, because we got a tick from the minister. You see, those ones.
When was the tick? Because on
Wednesday,
Wednesday, when they kidnapped me from writing my test, on Wednesday, when the student ambushed me from writing my test.
Your own test.
Yes, by the way, because it was caused by NSFAS, the incompetence of NSFAS. Students have to come. The only person they see is Viper there, who must come and be the voice of the students.
And who must defend you.
When you are saying that one minister told you, when did the minister tell you? When did the minister tell you? Let's start here. The only thing which they're very good at, they came with the system of direct payment. They wanted to engage us, we refused, then they're implementing it. But what the minister told you to go and implement of paying the 50% students, you haven't implemented them. Because the students who were there, the students, no, you can't come and police engage us. The students who were there are the students affected by the 50%.
Yes.
The student I was addressing on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
List.
So you
Let's
can't come and
list.
police engage us. It's not going to
Get the
happen.
list.
No, I have the list
No, we
with
can
me here. You can
just
give it to
Mugilene.
me.
Mugilene has the thing.
It's a-
But now, how are we sure that now?
Us will be sending the list for the
When
second
I
time.
receive-
The first time we send it from
I sent it
Can I have a duplicate of that list in case it goes
While
missing?
we were in the meeting to Mugilene.
we send it to command.
So I must send it
Everyone,
again. It's fine. I don't mind. I can resend the
everyone.
form.
So
The entire
they will be
Excel.
we want to do it
Send
again
them
now.
to the
You get
laptop.
the email address of the CIO.
We want to do it again now.
One is going to say,
Unfortunately, they were here. It's in other meetings.
I'm on this Wi-Fi here, so-
And you must know that the direct payment is not going to happen.
Yeah, the direct
Yeah,
payment
that
is
time
nonsense.
you must just know. We don't want to.
Whatever companies
If you
promised,
wanted,
what,
if you
and
wanted
it
to
promised
take over
to
direct payment, why are you still outsourcing?
Yeah, close this thing in Excel now.
Yeah, no, everyone is.
They-
He's saying he sent it to.
It's final.
The email
No,
address is
no,
good.
I know.
The email address is good. Lagoon must not to send it. I have Mugilene and Chilivasha.
You can put them on desktop.
That's the email we've been sending to.
No, I'm going to send to Mugilene.
Yeah, send to him. Then
And also,
He's sending
Univen,
emoji.
we have an issue of degree qualifications.
The high certificate.
There's an issue of
And
qualifications
students whom-
which are not recognized by NSFAS because
Degree obtained.
these things of foundation phase, they started on foundation phase.
Mm.
So I'm not sure if you are aware of this particular issue.
some of the business rules and issues don't sit within the tech because we just develop systems. It sits with main business because they understand the rules, they engage. So unfortunately,
It is core business.
they are not here with us now. But the issues at the end of the day, they affect all of us.
Can I ask you
so
something?
I have an understanding, but yeah, you
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
I want to ask this one. Sorry, President. I want to ask. what is the use of NSFAS renting this expensive building when the staff members are not even working from this building?
We are here.
No, I was told that some other ITs that are working at home, some that what, some that what.
Hence you invited us to go upstairs. What happened to the offer?
It's not true.
CIO.
It's not true. It means there is no transparency and good relationship within the offices here.
One thing they do, they point hands or no, who's responsible. That's what they do.
But one thing for sure which I want to guarantee you, Chela,
I acknowledge you.
go and buy us blankets.
The comrades are not giving me a chance because so it's not assisting the progression of discussions. But the list is coming now.
I sent to Mugilene.
It's fine.
No, I sent to Mugilene even. They are on the 4th.
We remain.
Mugilene has been sitting on this on the 4th.
We're tracking him.
What's the name to?
Who is your person?
Was your
Who is Michaela? Where is Michaela?
Who is your
And
auntie?
Christine, there was
But
Christine.
No,
last
I'm
week in the
asking
meeting.
him.
I don't know
He
whether it's
doesn't even
Christine
know
Bath.
who Michaela is.
She's my person and she's
He
not
doesn't
here.
know, Galuk.
Where is she?
She's off sick.
You see, these things.
No,
This,
but
last time she was sick, the other time her mother was sick, the other one her dog was sick.
Get sick. What virus
No.
is that?
No,
What
it's the
virus
reality.
is that? Like people can't get sick. they
So
die
because
here.
you are
So I'm
sick,
gonna
our
go
strength
find
must
Michelle,
starve.
then I saw
Oh,
that
yeah,
I
I am.
go to Natalie as well, so send to her.
I'm sick as well.
Up it's 2 o'clock, and by 4 you'll be saying that
You
want
can't
to
tell
leave.
me that. Just,
By
I
4 you'll be saying that you want
I
to
lost
leave.
my son on the
2 o'clock.
7th, on the 18th of January,
But
but on the
we know at
19th I
4
was on
we'll be saying
campus
things of
because said that I want to serve.
So we must be sure
Somebody
within
because
an
they're
hour
sick. The other
we'll
time
get
the
our
mother was
things.
sick.
No, I can't
Go
answer.
ahead,
That's
babe.
why
No, no, I'm just saying.
We're going,
when I fully believe
we're going to
it.
do these things of that
Again?
one of Michaela to be removed there. She's not servicing us.
You believe in
No,
it?
no, no, no. Which ones?
The list now.
Wasif. No, the issue of the
Person can't be sick.
the list is still one other issues which is affecting us. It can't happen. But
Why? When
sick,
somebody-
but the
when
salary
an
is
issue
going
gets
in.
sick.
The salary is going in.
When-
Why?
when-
Why?
when-
she-
when the
Man,
issues-
man, why is
can
it
be
like
here.
NSFAS like this? Fella, you know, you are suffering us.
Like,
we are suffering.
they don't know what
And
they're
you don't
doing
see,
to
you don't
us.
see you are suffering
Mama,
us.
yeah,
You are
yourself,
you are
you're
the
woman,
apartheid
mother.
government, in fact.
They are students,
The way
somebody
apartheid
that
was,
falls,
is how you are treating us, you as NSFAS.
A mere pen,
Wow,
because
very
you don't
much
give them
suffering
allowances.
because of you.
How are they supposed to
Just
do
send
that?
this list. We're having more than
The university,
1,000 lists.
universities don't give them for
Of
free.
students.
They don't even provide
They are
them.
students. They are not
What
even part
must
of
they do
the
students?
conversation which we spoke of here.
It's
Pure
May.
still.
What must they eat?
No, this
I
one
asked
is
CIO,
for...
didn't want to answer. I don't know
This is a
why.
different one.
I asked him, he's a parent himself. He's a parent himself. What are students supposed to eat? His child, I'm sure he lives somewhere here in Cape Town, even
Yeah,
at
it's
school somewhere in Cape
scrutinized.
Town.
With
With
our
white people,
taxpayers'
with white
money.
people. Even yours, I'm afraid.
It's
He's
either
here with
through
white
SAPA
people.
and CHP.
When you have them, they're going to be here. Very much lively so in the Cape, in the coastal. We're having students inland who are very much suffering now. Yours see the beach whenever they want to come and see the beach.
When they're stressed, they
This
can go
one
to
can't
the
even use
beach.
the 1.6 you're giving them to go to the beach. But honestly, as far as what they're doing, that's right.
What they increased that thing with 800
So what
rand.
happened
What is
is-
800
this man is
rand?
part
The
of-
cost of living.
Cost of living is literally.
I'm waiting for you.
This is not serious.
Yeah,
They are not-
How much is pads?
yeah, you can.
Imagine, how are these students supposed to buy pads if they don't give them allowances?
I was coming here because of I thought I'm giving you.
Oh, no, it's fine. I send it to Mugilene now. Oh, land lost one
You
rand.
gave him my
CIO, I'm telling you now, there are students who are going to be evicted on Monday because the university has provisional registration up until
He
the
must
15th.
send- yes.
On the 15th, all students are waiting
download
your
the-
response of NSFAS. The university is going to deregister them. Because what? There's no confirmation of funding. And we register the students provisionally so. We have provisional registration where the university allows the student to pay half of the amount so they can be provisionally up until a certain time where it's we even managed to extend it first from the 30th of March, 30th of April to the 15th of May. They are currently being reluctant to then now increase it to the what, to the 30th of May.
So
You
when I
understand?
would say till
So now these students on the 15th, on Monday, they're going to be deregistered. They're going to be sitting with students who are on your database that you're going to have to subsequently fund, but they're going to have no allocation of time. See, I'm engaging you.
No.
Yes. You won't answer me again. You won't give me an answer again. What must happen to students? I'm sitting on 1.7 students that are going to be deregistered.
Your list, the list MAP before we are going.
Let's confirm. I can tell you the database I sent.
Yeah.
Of course, the 1.7 is not all NSFAS, but a large number of the group is students who are waiting appeals. It's students who are waiting
Like
provisionally
1.7
funding.
1 million.
1.7 students, like 1,000.
Oh,
1,007 students.
Okay.
But that
Kiona
doesn't make
list
it. That doesn't make it any less
Kiona list we
significant. The ones I have here is very much long. I think it's 1 point something itself.
That's the list you sent to.
To Mugi Lane, yes.
Okay.
Retrieve it from
They're
Mugi
gonna-
Lane,
they're gonna
then that's
check in this
fine.
now. Okay. Before Bula,
CIO.
before
No,
Bula.
I'm not
CIO,
complaining.
CIO.
You're jumping
CIO.
in.
Yeah,
CIO.
give me a chance. Relax.
CIO.
Come on, Mopila.
Man, I
CIO.
must disband
I
NSFAS.
want
We
you
don't know
to
what
say
CIO.
it is.
I must disband it along with Saus.
CIO.
CIO. CIO. I'm saying Monday they're going to be registered. And I'm glad it's funny to you that they're going to be deregistered on Monday.
No,
I'm glad it's funny to you.
No, it's not.
On Monday they're
but-
going to be deregistered. The university doesn't care.
Mama,
when
they
students are
cannot
going
be
to
deregistered if the students that need to. That's why I'm here and we're supposed to come up.
They're going to be deregistered.
No,
This is the
but
15th
no.
of May.
No, I don't.
I can show you the communication that they're receiving
Yeah,
on a
so
daily
let's-
basis.
let's-
The university sends them an SMS every day, on a daily basis, telling them, look, confirm your bursary, or on the 15th of May, we're deregistering you.
It's either you
An
confirm your
SMS every
bursary
day. Imagine
or you
students.
pay.
Hey,
Yeah, they are-
You confirm
it's either you
bursary or
pay
you
full
pay.
registration.
And NSFAS made commitments that they're going
Hey.
to pay for those students.
Yes.
So,
So what does it say?
so
Let's
even
make
with
our
this-
job easy,
Yeah.
CIO.
Yeah.
What we can do, you can sit the entire day and argue.
Yeah.
What
No,
we can
we're
do
not
is that,
arguing. I can-
CIO, I guess these issues are going to be resolved. And you're giving your hope that these issues are going to be resolved. Why can't we, in the meantime, NSFAS and the institutions have an MOU, a memorandum of understanding that, no, in the meantime, allow the students to receive what their allowances, because subsequently you are going to then now give them their money back.
Yes.
The universities must tap into their reserves to then pay the students who are what provisionally funded, who are still waiting for what's in transferring. Students who are also then are waiting for appeals, because what we have assumption that these appeals are going to be rectified and all of them are going to be what approved to be what NSFAS beneficiaries. So why can't we do that? No, in the interim, the universities must give from their coffers allowance to the students, then NSFAS will then now pay back the university. The university claim back the
The
money.
tricky part about that,
I
the
asked
tricky part about that.
Steve to get people from business. Who,
Hey, one core business here, Christine Bath.
Let me
Yeah,
give.
all of them.
Yeah, one Christine Bath.
Listen, let me get to
Maybe
that.
before, but if there are students that have interest in Koreka Monday, Babans out of the system because of this.
I can give you the database. I can
It's
give
not
you
That's
about
why I
students
want
coming out of the
TV and them
system.
to come
It's
to
because
start.
students need NSFAS to survive and to start. It's not about being removed on Monday. What happened from January till
No,
now?
Bruak, I keep saying this thing. If he
He doesn't want to answer this thing about where must they eat? What must they eat? He doesn't answer it. Where does a female student get to buy sanitary towels without money?
My brother, you're asking a question.
He doesn't
You're
answer it.
subjectifying
Where do they go to
it.
sleep?
No, it's not. It's
From
the
their
reality we're
parents.
facing.
From their parents.
They don't have
Yeah,
money.
I can imagine
They don't have
from their
money.
parents. From where? From where? From their parents. Parents are not working. Parents are not working.
Comrades, let's send this man a list. You go send the why you're not
Yes, that is
what
what-
what
what
day
you
you
send.
send. Ask why you're the whole day.
Let's get. Did you send him the
No,
list?
I
Yeah,
sent
what
him
is
the list.
that? Nothing will happen.
No, we're ceasing the engagement. You just told us our students must get money from their parents. Yes, that's what you said. You said it's on record. Yes,
And the chief,
He said so.
the CIO.
No,
I gave you the documents there. It's the reality of the matter.
No, just say it correctly. You said what? Because
From the
we
parents.
heard
You must
you.
tell yourself.
You said our poor parents must give us money which they don't have.
There's no answer.
Mugile,
we give him.
Our
USB
poor
there.
parents they don't have money.
Even
That
send
is why
to-
yes, because they don't
I
have
know,
money.
man.
Who's then now
not
going to
him.
Muri?
Let us
I know,
engage.
when I'm
Going
giving
work.
him.
Why here? The whole
Hey,
day.
we must go work. Why here the whole day?
No, but we-
This thing with one assistance of
When you listening to him,
No,
No, we gave you leave. When are we going to
These
leave?
ones are my people.
Us, we can argue the whole day.
So don't mind when
We
you
gave you what
them.
you wanted.
You can
Don't mind us
even-
arguing. We can argue the whole day, but we gave you what you wanted. Work on the list.
You can even say the
We
answer
sent
you
the
give
list.
him is not gonna. That's why I said parents. I know he's gonna give. He say no.
Aye.
I will send this link again next week. I'm telling you.
How now?
Ah, chief.
They won't
These
send
are
it
our
by
comrades. We're here.
They
I
won't
want
send
to
it.
go nowhere. It's never tired.
Aye.
In the meantime, when I be stuck, let me read something which I got today, and you tell me what should I say to that student.
Wow.
You must tell me what must I say to that student.
Don't open that.
Just give me 2 minutes.
document myself.
It's got flooded. I don't want to flood this thing. Get flooded. Give me 2 minutes. Baba, nothing. The civils went out to get business people. So.
No way. See, who is the person who said that they must send these things to you, to Mukondeleli,
mara
to Mikhail?
nakatshwara di-email tsa ke silele motšhini
You give me
relax
Mukondeleli's
ha o
email.
vibe fit o
Wait.
leave
My
a
brother.
very last thing so ha ba tla ka
You know, if ever it was on another place, ne?
Honestly, it would be very far.
I've lost my patience.
give him
I would have lost patience. Because what is this?
because I don't know how you guys are stacked because we have people that
Now I'm working with Natalia.
yeah that's why I'm saying so okay that's why
Chile
I'm asking
Chile Valley,
Yes.
Chile Valley is supposed to be because he represents all of us. His
That's
university
why we're
support.
getting him okay
His university support. He must
That's why
come
we're getting
here.
him. Otherwise
He told CUT in the morning that he's not here. He's out of town. But when I arrive here, he's walking around here.
You told that he's not here.
Oh, he's out of town. He told CUT that he's out of town. He was not here.
So now there's this first
But
day.
then we see him walking
This
around.
first
That was
day,
surprise.
next day when I was here. I said, good morning, sir. I need your help. It has been 4 months now since I made an appeal and both my parents are not working. Can you please help me? I'm struggling. I was affected by the 350,000, which I think it might be a mistake. I made an appeal since February and I provided all the proof, including the salary advice, but nothing changed. It's really hard for me sometimes to attend because I stay fast. And I work every day because it is the cheapest rest that my parents can afford. I'm just a first year student who comes all the way from Boston. I don't have any family. Just me, my first month here felt like a hell. It was really, really, really hard.
No, keep student numbers.
No way. No, you're not.
No, yeah.
She's not the only one. You want
I
to
know.
all of them.
Guys,
Go, now listen.
guys, he's
No,
giving me this
listen.
case to prove a
Listen.
point.
Listen.
Yeah, I know. but-
No,
but-
we're not
but
going to
you
agree.
don't know how to solve
You
the
see,
problem.
you see those lists which I've given you then. Those lists is of those students.
Yes.
That one just the one who texted. All those lists themselves, they're from the poor, marginalized, black communities. All of them, they're of paramount importance.
Yes, but I want to show you a principle because he's reading this thing.
You want
so
me to
what
read all the text
What
that
must I reply to him when he show me this?
No, you just say that's what we are facing day in, day out. The only reply you can do is make sure that you inclusively resolve all the issues.
Okay, we moving the data to the technical, to the business people, so that each
Where the business-
assigned to each university can get their list.
Where is
And they
Mikhail?
have- okay.
Mikhail.
I don't even know who's
God,
Mikhail.
she's sick.
I don't know her.
The first list has missed you when we
No, I wish we were on the street more. Maybe at a student gathering, I should have dealt with you long time ago.
You are let me know entertained.
Okay.
So I'll get the list from the campus secretary.
Mina, I have a problem with the rule 5.3.2
Rule.
of NSFAS guidelines.
Okay.
And that's 60
It
credit
says
thing.
students who are affected by N+1 and who they have appealed, they are going to get only book allowances and also their fees. will be
Yes.
paid. They won't get
60
meal
credits.
allowances and they won't get paid for accommodation.
Yes.
So Mina, I'm saying since I've realized that you guys are good with exceptions, I've seen you kept us from rural areas car accommodation. You're only paying 45,000 downwards. But then here, because you understood the
It's 61.
situation, it's 60. So Tina, make us to be an exception to this rule because we are the victims of load shedding. Remember, it's a rural university.
No.
We just got the generators last month. We failed because of load shedding. We failed because of COVID-19.
Say, oh,
So
have to go
these
to our
students,
parents.
they are very
Ah,
poor.
but no
They are
current.
hungry and they don't have a place to stay.
Okay.
So now they're going to be the victim of hunger and also they're subjected to the streets. They don't know what to do. So I'm submitting that.
Okay, I'm waiting for people from business who are actually 100% responsible for rules and such, so that we commit. See, Hansar CIO, who work technology. I work in the technology frame. So I asked Sivura Atlelebo so that they can take these things forward, including this issue. Not Reg. He brought issue migration of students between different qualifications.
Say,
Okay, we're also even rejecting the direct payment.
what you're saying now with regards to answering this, we also just giving us another lip service. When we brought about this issue of 60 credits, I was going to leave, but your answer just gave me a very much a troubled mind because now that's not the first answer we had. You met us sometimes, you're even there yourself in Beachwood. I remember seeing you in Beachwood.
Yes.
When we asked, the COO said the 60 credit issue is a policy matter that yourselves were not even for me to change it, so it does not in any way even affect your processes, or nor do you even care.
Just take the mandate given.
And we've been like what myself saying here is not something new. We told you that where are these students staying?
I'm answering in the context of Ubuntu business things.
Yes, you're answering. Hence, I'm saying the answer you're giving here is another lip service because you're not telling her the actual thing here. Tell her that indeed you are unwilling, comrades, to move it.
But we never
No, say, you must fetch from his test. Do you know what the students do? They fetch you from your place. Why the moment where we're no longer leading them, they're leading us. They come and fetch you, but leaders start to finance. They come and fetch you instead of you saying, tell you, but look, come out of your office and let's go. Because we're defending you, comrades, there. When we say no, NSFAS said no, they'll come and send these things there. They'll come and send on Friday. It's Friday. They told me it's Friday, Chief. Where's our money?
They must go on
Because
media.
I told them Friday NSFAS would have concluded. But when they are here, when I say that, they think by the 12th, money's out.
I'm talking about the list.
We're talking about the list, we're talking about the issues.
What you want is money.
They want their money. What a process, what? They don't care about that anymore.
Allocation.
They want to see. Even allocation now showing that no, even if you're funded,
You compare
doesn't
money.
matter to them anymore.
Yeah.
Doesn't
compare
matter.
money.
All they want is money in their account. It's 1 June, you are giving our 10 tech, Rako, Izaga, money that they're only going to pay students. 1st of June, you're not going to pay anyone. I can tell you. And I'm sure that one. I know. You can correct me if I'm wrong, say you won't pay anyone. 1st of
Well,
June.
you have a
1st
question.
of June, you won't pay anyone.
There's rules in payment. You know,
But
just
don't pay anyone.
They're going to fail to pay on the 1st of June.
You are
Who were
failing.
you dealing with more nurses?
You are failing the nation.
You mean from where?
From here, all allocated.
Is that one who's always sick?
That one. Mention. You must. Oh well, in because I don't know her. So mention
Michaela.
her email.
I don't know her email.
You don't know the staff members.
Don't have Michaela's email.
When I started, you were not listening to me.
But then you must know your staff members again. I don't know today.
No, but I get it. Now we get to know some money.
Michaela was a white lady who deployed at the University of Limpopo. And what is the other two? Oh God, it's not you. It's me.
I think there's I think services or
Yeah, that white lady, colored, kind of chubby. I know her physically.
Listen, can I get in?
Call Steve.
Email away.
She give us Michaela's email.
What email? What list? 50%.
1902
Or all affected students.
111
Call Steve.
6.
You can call her with WhatsApp.
Hey, Chief. I was once a student.
Yeah, now we are working with this.
No, don't say at least. It's a circle of life.
There's no circle of
You
you
wanna
are,
come
you
and
are
work.
joining us.
You wanna come and work?
After
And
I
you are-
tried how many times.
What are you gonna feel?
Because I don't have time to go to class because NSFAS doesn't even do what they're supposed to be doing.
So you wanna play?
Hey, Molwen, Nteli email ka Michael. Send it to Chairman via WhatsApp.
You tell him how you know that.
I was working with the nation. The students were interrupting me in class.
What is what?
No, what
It's not
director?
because of me. It's because of the vast majority who are suffering. Because of the incompetence of NSFAS.
It's so, but I believe maybe you can at least give me
Every day.
You know
summary, but I'm seeing something because we went to NSFAS, we were at NSFAS. So I just wanted to give them also with that documentation after explaining
Now, if
of
you know,
2019.
we need to solve it properly. What I don't know.
But one thing which I want you to know, today, just call the police in China. Those, what do you call it? Law enforcement and then the metros and the police. Those are the people who are going to take me out of this office. I'm not going home without that NSFAS case.
Oh, you're not going anywhere the list. But I don't want to know the list. As long as
I
you
don't
know,
want to know.
no
what-
here.
You had from January until today. You had from December after the students failed till today. You had enough time from December after the rec was submitted till today. Firstly, I would love to send my. Should I tell them? Yes. Oh, should I introduce myself? I'm Viper, the SRC president of University of Limpopo, the only snake in the north. What I want to say, firstly, I want to say that I'm disappointed because of the dilly-dallying on the arrangements of this sitting. That one, comrades, we might have done well so far, but when you are failing, we must tell you that you are failing because your inconsistency and lack of planning cost us a lot. Some of us were here 2 weeks back and we are here today. And I'm not deployed to run around countries. I must have an institution there to govern, make sure that they don't strike. But however, what I want to put out here, I heard the chairperson of the session speaking of that the SAUs, in fact, consist of more SRC than SAUs members. is double the number. But however, to also come to that recommendation which you're giving us, I want to ask, who of the SRC members did you guys consult to come and give us that report? It's proper, we understand. But the little which you are doing when you don't consult us, you are putting us under a train smash. For example, you spoke about the issue of accommodation. My university and where it's located, what you are speaking of doesn't exist. Should you have consulted us? We are going to give you the line of march because you are the ones who meet with the ministers, so that you can go and be our voices, as we are the voices of the students out there. So when you speak about the cap of accommodation, what about me, who my institution survived because of lease and because of these things of deviation? Where am I included there? No way. And I know I'm not the only one who writes deviation. Those ones in the rurals, those universities there, they survive through deviation. And on that issue of deviation, even today, it's still going to be a toe-to-toe and head-to-head with me and NSFAS, that they cannot give my student accommodation allowances, but not give them transport allowances. Because the universities which are having accredited residencies, they have means of transport. Because today I'm sitting with the students whereby the only thing they receive is money to pay rent. And then nobody is to transport them from off campus to campus. So it means the money which they're paying rent with is the same money they're using to pay Bolt. So that thing, next time you want to do something, come and tell us, we'll give you a proper mandate. But however, let's get to the business of the day. What I want to put out here in terms of finding solutions to the funding. Number one, you spoke about the missing middle, the comrade spokesperson. Where is he? Oh, Samlo. You spoke about the missing middle and how you presented your proposals to the government. But I want to appreciate and also question some of the issues which are there. As the president of Fort Hare has spoken that the issue of funding is not a courtesy to the black majority of South Africa. In fact, it's our right. It's there in the Freedom Charter there, that we must produce quality free education. Steve Biko died for that. So to put out there, when I talk about the missing middle, what about the postgraduates? Because on your presentation there, you spoke mostly about the missing middle, and then our postgraduate students are still left out there. Education does not end at a mere degree. Education ends at PhD. And the black majority, when they want to continue studying, it becomes a problem for them because there is nobody to fund them going upward. And also want to give you this proposal, Samlom, that next time when you go to your engagement, please debate it in this notion. These private bursaries, I even told NSFAS this thing. These private bursaries which are giving one student 8 million, and then NSFAS is stuck there with 90% of the students whom are benefiting from NSFAS, and then there is that 10% from private sectors who are getting more money. What I will say to you, go and advocate for quality and flat funding for all the students. The private sectors, they must donate to NSFAS so that NSFAS could be the only funding criteria we're having as the students. Because when you're having CETA giving Viper 52,000, you are having NSFAS giving President Chamano 42,000. What's special about Viper? What's special about Chaman? I mean, less special about Chaman. All of us who are here to fight for one thing, to acquire education, and we don't have funds to sustain our studies there. These things of private bursaries coming in there, if ever they want to donate, that are donate to NSFAS, then NSFAS be the only mediator. But however, I won't go down before I speak about this thing. As much as SAWUS is the only stakeholder which can go and represent us on our absence, I want to say that this anarchic approach of NSFAS, trying to rape us with a direct payment, it must come to an end. The direct payment, as you are our representative there, I will say to you, go and tell NSFAS that the SRC is saying that they don't want direct payment. For 3 reasons. Number one, I was at NSFAS office yesterday. Including themselves, they don't know how it's going to work. Number one. Number two, they're saying that on the 1st of June, they want to start with paying. And we are sitting here as mid-May. When are they going to start doing those things? Should our students not get their money on the 1st of June? Hell shall break loose. Number 3 is because they are fighting with the institutions They're not fighting with us. These things of them releasing the global funding list and then institutions start taking bogus students like people are doing when they're winning conferences with bogus numbers. Institutions taking bogus students saying that no, this one belongs to us, this one belongs to us. Then NSFAS does the funding. The question I asked them yesterday, if ever you are scared of double dipping by institutions, how about you release and then institutions send, then you do the merge, then you start releasing the fund. We are sitting here today claiming like we are leaders, but we are the current generation which failed our students. NSFAS today haven't responded to the appeals. NSFAS is capable of going social media and lying, not coming to the ground and taking mandate from us. They even went there speaking about these things of 50% is being resolved. But our students even today are still starving because of the 50% issue. But what I want you to do, my leader, go to NSFAS. The only man that we can accompany you. Go and tell them that whatever they want to do, if ever they ate money with the companies which they want to hire to come and do direct payment, we didn't eat the money with them.
They must vomit.
They must vomit the money. And then lastly is this one. Recommendation 12. I would love to differ with it. You know why I'm differing with this recommendation 12 as much as saying that the loans must come to the part. This is the part. When I applied for funding, when he said that they must all have one funding criteria in terms of CETA and what to apply one thing. These issues of private sectors, my man, they can be our savior or they can be our downfall. Because they are going to advertise that Mina can give a student 50 million. And then NSFAS will be stuck with 100 students not getting anything. But the issue which I want to also put here, the status quo. The status quo can be made in this content, when leadership, for the 350 income and what, which even today, NSFAS, because they're emptying their heads, they're saying that a 350 is the cap in which if ever the family is having, they cannot fund a student. I want to ask you, Somlom, are you aware that if ever my mother is married to my father, or my mother has married to a husband who's not my father, they're going to say that the family income of that family is 350 or above. But biologically, that stepdad of mine has no legal obligation to pay for my fees. But yet, I'm still categorized that that family has that income. That's why we're having a lot of missing middle and students coming out and crying. Because there is a father who has some children somewhere there, which biologically is being even paying these things of legal support, maintenance. He can't maintain his children then still maintain me. But yet NSFAS categorized me because my mom and my mom and that guy that married now say like the income is this. So go and tell NSFAS that they must go and start thinking. And again on that issue of 350. When NSFAS come out here clowning saying that this family has 350, did they calculate the expenses of that family? The income. I might be having my mother and my father being teachers, 350, okay, it's fine. But have you checked how many of my brothers are at higher institution? That is the question which you must go and ask NSFAS today when you leave here. Because you're not going to come here and see that make it 300 or million. It's still going to be the same issue. NSFAS is very much incompetent and they're having 399 workers there. But even today, they can't even produce one funding list. We're stuck here because of funding list from NSFAS. So leaders, please go there and represent us, or else we shall represent ourselves. In that direction I submit.
Indeed, comrades, when you are supporting, don't be afraid to critique if you want to critique. Brutally so if you want to. That is the spirit of this meeting, that want to bring something out of it, knowing that this was the bullshit. So don't be, merciful in your engagement. Leadership, it was you coming after.
No, thank you, facilitator. My name is Bonwise Mafumo, Comrade Rhino from University of Venda. Firstly, I want to acknowledge the presence of the leadership of the student command. It's just unfortunate that we came late here because we didn't even know this venue, because us were from there in the north, and so you are changing venues here and here. So majority of whatsoever that we said, we didn't grasp it. So can the AZ also send the presentation at least now, so that when we come back from breaking, we'll have perused it, because here some of us will flip-flop. But then what I want to speak on is to acknowledge also to and upload the SAUS for recommendation 3, wherein private will also come in place to can support. But then also, my question to SAUS is here. SAUS, here we are sitting, we are planning for the future. But then the present is broken. How do we then move forward? How do we then say we are going to resolve the difficult part of the society? When we speak of historical debt and the funding of the students, it's very much broad and it's very much broken. So we are planning for the bigger part. We are speaking of billions here, of which currently now, in less than 20 days, there will be a serious mess in the country, which is going to even lead to all universities shutting down. But then we are planning for the future of which we are not sure of which, and tomorrow you are going to come and lie. Because yesterday we told you, go and reject these things. Today we are telling you we are going to recommend to you, as if like we are just here to speak to you and you listen to our broken English and then you go and submit what you will submit, and then the next one is like that. Because currently we are sitting in a mess. If indeed you can deal with the current issue which you are bringing here now, which is the tough one, why don't you resolve the simple one of which we are rejecting direct payment? So us sitting here and speaking English, what about you do this? Coming here to speak English is a fruitless exercise, because we are speaking, meanwhile we are having a problematic situation here now of direct payment. So instead of us speaking of this, because we can reschedule again, let's speak of direct payment, because that direct payment is going to deal with the majority of the people, of which tomorrow are going to come and speak of historical debt again tomorrow, because direct payment is not going to pay students. So let's stop these things. Direct payment, we'll move forward. Thank you.
President Carlos Bebo from University of Pretoria. I think SAUS is being very reactive, and they speak things.
I'm not sure if you can hear, but
I think the leadership of SAUS is being very reactive, and they are speaking things to sound nice in front of us as though they are doing something. Right. There was something that was said in terms of the caps for accommodations must be priced in terms of the location. So accommodation cap must be in terms of location. It was something that was said there, but
then they love speaking but not acting. That's what I'm saying. Blow jobs and hand jobs. They love speaking, not acting. In this sense, you know, comrade coordinator, before NSFAS could take over everything, we're not having the current problems we're having as student leaders. Back in the days, NSFAS students, beneficiaries used to apply for NSFAS at the institutions, and everything was done there. And then we didn't have these kind of things. Whenever NSFAS takes over, it becomes a blunder. Firstly, that IT guy which I met yesterday, I even called him a ground force yesterday because he knows absolutely nothing. He knows nothing about the operation. You remember, leader? Yeah, CIO. Yes, he knows nothing with the operation of NSFAS. Whatever he just speaks of, like, no, I'm in charge of this and this. Like, what do you know? Brief us. That guy knows nothing. They took over applications. Today we are sitting with students are having 0 applications. They took over applications. They took over appeals. Now we're sitting with students whom the appeals are not even anywhere to be located. They took over the issue of these things of, what do you call it? Uploading your documentations of your parents and stuff like that. Now we're having students who are poor and they're accused to be rich. I wish I was one of them and I was rich in reality. Because it's the most difficult things to be accused of being rich, while you know that you sleep in hunger. Before we could go on. But whatever I wanted to give it to you, I wanted to give it to this mandate. Hence, you are our representative. Go to NSFAS. Tell them that they must bring a hybrid model whereby those ones who can apply online, they must continue with online applications. But should there be problems with online applications, they must allow contact, consultations, and submission of documents. That's where they must increase from that 399 staff members which they're having there. However, that 399 staff members, they are not in the office. When you go there, there is nobody there. It's only Sivu and Mkondelele and that useless guy. There's nobody there. But they're having 399 staff members. When you go to consult with them, like, no, this one is not here. And you start questioning yourself, where are they? Because NSFAS quarters is in Cape Town, not anywhere else. You start asking yourself, if I have employed individuals, 399 workforce, and they're not here, where are they? Mostly particularly this one called Michaela, who loves being sick. That girl, she's very anti-progress. If ever she's not sick, her dog is sick. And then Utina, we must be stuck. That's what I was saying to you. Go and give NSFAS a mandate that should they want to assist us, they must first increase their workforce. And their workforce must be campus-based so that when we're having such crisis like we're having today, we know who to contact and do what with the person. Number 2, the issue of direct payment, like we said earlier, is premature. I can't say ejaculation, but I will say it in passive. Premature ejaculation, whereby they didn't even hit the target. Firstly, they don't know what they were looking for because they don't even, Madam President. So I withdraw. Yes, I withdraw. But it was premature activities. President, can I be protected? Thanks very much. Because of these bases, number 1, we are saying as SRC, we are not agreeing to direct payment because even themselves who wants to give us direct payment, they don't even know how to do it. She spoke about them not even knowing how to locate a student after that, when the student is deregistered and stuff like that. So we are saying to you, please go and tell them that if they want direct payment, they must come and convince us or try to convince us otherwise. But currently, with these things of direct payment, we are saying no to it, and we're not going to change that. And I also want to put this one to these leaders of SAWUS. We must stop these things of you telling us one and what and which doesn't make sense. You must go and read Allegory of the Cave by Plato. That theory simply outlines that there are operational matters which are happening inside, and you are just being briefed about what is happening outside. When we come here saying that the NSFAS individuals haven't done payments to the institutions, we are not clowning. It's because we sit with the CFOs of our institutions. We check if ever they paid or they didn't pay. And yet, the Allegory of the Cave theory by Plato says that you are going to only be given reflection of what is happening, but that's not the reality. The reality is that NSFAS, even today, the advances which they published out there saying that they paid institutions advances, my institution didn't receive the money which they're speaking of. And when I come out and speak here, it's because I'm in contact with the institution. Are you in contact as SAWUS with NSFAS? Did you see the transaction with NSFAS? If ever you haven't seen it, you can't come and say that no, NSFAS have done the payment. Let us stop these things of defending. If ever you have been sent to come and defend. I'm not done. Okay. And then the other one is this part. When it comes to NSFAS leadership, I want to submit this one. You know, NSFAS, yes, I'm not posting. NSFAS speaks about funding these particular programs and not funding these particular programs because of whatever things they're doing. It's happening at Univen. There is a program which they're not funding it. But however, they're also failing to sustain the funding for the existing programs. For example, students who are doing nursing. Their academic starts early in January and ends in December. Those students are the students who are benefiting from NSFAS. And NSFAS still pays them for 10 months, while the academic activities is 11 months. Even in December, of course, because they go home around the 13th or 16th of December there when we close campus. And they go to campus early in January. What is happening with those students? And also come say, like, when you want to sustain funding of the black majority, and in terms of funding for education comes with practicals. He spoke about practicals, I think the UJ president. Those students, in their funding criteria, which NSFAS is still not aware of what to do, let them think about them. Why am I saying this? Because the students who are doing practicals, my brother, I will give an example. Those ones who are doing social work, they have registered rooms on campus. But when they have to go for practicals, it's placement or basement. They have to move from campus to Gauteng, where there are offense and stuff like that. And then who is to pay for accommodation that side? Because they are not even getting accommodation allowance because they have rooms on campus. So who must pay that side? So I'm saying to you, leadership, go and tell NSFAS that the current sitting SRC is saying that find amicable solutions to assist a black child in terms of taking care of all the expenses which comes through the teaching and learning. It's not like these students are creating something. So I don't know, fund me. I want to go to IAP. We are saying fund us to achieve education. And then the last one before you could suspend me, that you want to deal with me, is the issue of graduates. We said to you, leadership, when we are saying, I think the spokesperson spoke about it, but he didn't get it clearly. What we are saying, the majority of the students who are funded by NSFAS have graduated this year, and they still don't have their degrees. And I will say this, there is no difference between a Nyaupe boy at Gate 2 or Nyaupe boy at CBD in Cape Town or Nyaupe boy at CBD in Gauteng with a graduate who has graduated and still don't have a degree. Because both these individuals or the group of the individuals don't have certification so that I have obtained this. We are saying to the Department of Higher Education, to Minister Blade, to NSFAS, that fasten the process of releasing degrees to our graduates. Either they are owing or not owing, because they want institutions to obtain certificate, not just to get a theory and go back home with nothing. You have nothing to show that, yes, I'm a graduate, because you can't even get a job. The only thing you're going to market is going to be a cashier at ShopRite. And then it means you are also classified with those ShopRite individuals. What was the use of that? And then lastly, which I want to give you in the issue of, I will be short like a miniskirt, thanks. The last one is the finding solution to the missing middle and also the students affected by the N+. My submission, which for the first time I'd love to disagree to agree with you, but we made something which makes sense and have been preaching about it in the North, that NSFAS must find a amicable solution, that the students whom they've been funding them for 3 years, and those students failed to complete a degree, that's why they have to apply for N+, and then they still fail again. They must then come with a system that we have given you a chance for you to study with a bursary. Now you have failed. Now we can initiate a loan for you to complete a study, so that at the end of the day, that student must go home with a degree. Because what NSFAS is doing when they say that N+, they funded me for 4 years. My duration of the degree was 4 years, and then I failed to complete in record time. Then they stopped funding me. It means I won't be having funds to sustain my studies. It means the money which NSFAS has spent on that student was taken for granted and was misused, because the student enrolled failed to complete. NSFAS stopped funding the students. Now students just go back home and look for a job at the farms without a certificate. So NSFAS must initiate loans for those students, but at least the student will be having something to complete the degree with, and that loan must be on those terms and conditions that the student must not be charged interest and stuff like that. The loan must go to be paid by NSFAS, or the students must apply for loan to NSFAS, and then they will crash these things of N+ and appeals. Even the students who have failed to meet the funding criteria, we are saying to you, NSFAS should say to the students, because we have given you a chance to study and you have failed to meet the minimum funding criteria, then we are giving you a chance to study again in a loan. That is going to encourage the student to pass. Instead of NSFAS saying that because you have failed, we are going to dismiss you. They don't even know why the students are failing. We are sitting with students. We know what perpetuates or what resulted into a student failing. For example, no, you can't police engage me. I am still making submissions. For example, last year when students, our leadership, last year when students had a problem of funding, I'll speak mostly about Univen and UL, that side of the North. The impact of students not having money to pay off-campus accommodation from January until I became the president in September, that's when they got their accommodation. It has also had an impact in their studies. And NSFAS still wants to punish those students, while the NSFAS is the reason those students went through whatever they went through, and those students' academic were compromised. And again, with the load shedding perpetuated and promoted by the ANC government, which compromises our studies, NSFAS, which is also funded by the ANC government, must come to acknowledge that this is the reality, because our government is failing to sustain power, which currently we are having most of the institution being in hybrid learning, online and contact. How do you expect me to excel when there is load shedding for 8 hours? How is that going to be possible? NSFAS, when the government fails to provide, NSFAS must suffer by servicing the students. In that direction, I submit. What he's saying, he's telling me that NSFAS gives the institutions 10 billion upfront payment. You know how much they gave me as upfront payment? 28 million. That was February. And that 28 million couldn't even pay all the students who are benefiting from NSFAS. The book allowance which we gave them, that was me and the institution giving them book allowance. It wasn't NSFAS. Even last year when I came here to this building, we're sitting there to claim our off-campus allowance. If we were giving them upfront, why didn't they give them? The same reason the university is now saying that we can't pay students whom NSFAS have made commitments to pay is because you don't release the list of the students. Universities has money to pay, but they need commitment that NSFAS will come back and return our money when we pay. So when the ground force, you absolutely know nothing.
Away money for the poor. People who are working at it.
That's why I mean I want the CEO, the CEO, that one who replacing Pashel, who replacing Pashel.
Or replacing Pashel. She's been working with Pashel for long.
Where is she?
It's probably somewhere.
We want them. We want them.
She must come.
We want them.
She must come as well.
She's like you're smiling like you must come.
I'm telling you, we're giving you this chance. Man. After these offices won't be working anymore. This NSFAS offices.
How do you paint the picture in the public of such a situation from
working with such a grand force?
NSFAS is failing.